Morning, folks. This is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to work on a bracelet using our some more of our FOC, which stands for Found Objects Challenge, from Randy Brown of Thunderhorse Descendant. Now, this is a challenge she does monthly. You buy the package for, I think it's $8.30 now, and then you have no idea what's in said package. You just get a bunch of stuff in the bag, and you have to make something from whatever's in the bag. And then she has a random drawing for all the people who finished something to make or to get $50 worth of stuff and a bag for the next month. So I'm going to turn down here, and we're going to look over what we've got here, and I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, what we got here from our kit is these beautiful 4-hole bracelet. Well, they don't necessarily have to be bracelet pieces, but that's what we're going to use them for. And there are 7 of these, which means that it will be one of these in the middle, because I'm going to do them every other one. And then, like so. Now, this may be too long. If it is, we'll fix it. No, looks like it might be all right. What we're going to do then with these crystals, here we're going to cut these open. And we're going to put 2 crystals between each one where the holes are at. Now, if it gets too long, this will be where it's going to get too long at. It's because of the crystals in between. Of course, on the other hand, if when we get to this point it's not long enough, we'll just put crystals on the ends. So let's see what we've got now. See, not even 6. Well, not even 7, I should say. 6 1/4. So we may end up adding some more crystals. We'll see how that goes. In the meantime, we'll just put them aside here. Now, these I got from Michael's, in case you're wondering. And then I'm going to use the seed beads in the bracelet portion through here. This one is not very deep, but this one is deeper, as you can see. So the seed beads will help as it goes along. And then we got some Soft Flex Tanzanite, which pretty much matches pretty close to these pretty ones here. And then this weekend I went down to Missoula, and we went to the Crystal Limit, which is where I get some of my bits and pieces. And we got some of these kind of clasps, the slider clasps. 2-hole slider clasp. So that will finish it off. And of course we'll need some jump rings when that comes about. Not jump rings, but crimp tubes. So we have some crimp tubes here also. I'm not going to bother to pour them out right now. I don't want to lose them. So I'll just put those up to the side. What we do need to do is get some of our wire out, and then some of our seed beads, so that we can just start right up. So I will be getting that out, and we'll get going. A little sniffly this morning. I have a little less on this spool, which doesn't have a label on it, but it is the same thing. So we will use it first. So we're going to work probably right on this spool right off the bat here, though I could just cut it here at this point, but I tend to prefer to work on the spool. So we'll do that. So we need to pour out some of the seed beads since they're going to be one of the first things we need. And we're going to go through the first hole here. And then just put some seed beads on. Well, if I don't throw them all over the place, that is. I think one more. That looks pretty good. So we'll feed it through the other hole. Now, because you're doing a 2 holes here, and crystal, we want to make sure that when we work, we always go to our top hole on these. This looks like it needs to go. There we go. Now this one has a pattern, so we want to make sure our pattern is the same on both. And you don't have to put the seed beads behind. I just do so because I think it protects it a little bit. I think just one more will be enough. This one is obviously a little bit stiffer because it's not sliding on the wire as easily. Now we're just going to do this all the way down the line like we have so far. And so just one of the pieces, fill it with seed beads, one of the crystals, then back to the pieces again. Trying to make sure my little leaf pattern is going the same direction on all of my these ones with the leaf pattern. See, this one would be upside down too. Needs to turn to this direction. It's going to be so pretty. Now, as you can see, I'm filling it up across here with seed beads. It's not a necessity. You could do without them. I just like to do that because that way the seed beads help the wire sit more closely to your arm. Now, once we get the seed beads on here, we'll see how the sizing is. If the sizing is good, then we can put on our clasp. If we need a little something more, we'll put a few more crystals on. Okay, here we go. Isn't this pretty? And we also could just put the second, cut this, put the second strand in and decide if we're long enough at that point. But I am going to put another bead stopper on this other end here. And then we'll put it around my wrist and see how large it is. Looks like we need quite a bit more, actually. See how we're a couple inches from the other side of my wrist here. So let's measure it with the ruler. And it says it is 6. So we are going to put a set of crystals on either side. That's not going to add a lot. It'll add about 1/2 inch. But then when we put the clasp on, it should add that other half inch at least, maybe even a little more, that we need. So what I'm going to do is, since we have plenty of wire, let's get a couple more crystals out. As you can see, we have plenty of wire for putting it onto our clasp. So we will cut it about right here. And get another piece of wire about this, the same length out. So we will just simply put the other crystal on this end and put our bead stopper back on. And now we'll see if how much that crystal gave us as far as length. As you can see, we're a bit closer. We're not quite at that 1/2 inch mark, but like I say, when we put our clasp on, even though the clasp itself isn't very long like a lobster claw would be, this clasp has is a slider clasp. And if we put it on with jump rings, I was debating just putting it straight on, but I'm thinking if we put it on with jump rings, if somebody doesn't like our clasp, if they want to purchase this piece, then we can always change the clasp out that way. And if we wanted to, we'd probably, to do that, like to a lobster claw or something, we would probably put it on onto another big jump ring, so that the jump ring then could be hooked on to a different clasp. But we're going to use this one. And we're probably going to use some tiny Tinky Tots, these right here, to hook it on. So we'll need 4 of those as well. Oops, that's more than the 4. There we go. So we'll just put those aside. We've got 2 more over here. Klutzy Rose, don't lose your precious Pinky Tots. And then we'll get some more, like I say, we'll get the other side of wire out. So it's the proper length here. And we'll start beading it up. Like I say, we went to Missoula this week, and I was digging around in my purse for my bottle of Advil, because my husband had a headache, and discovered 2 bead stoppers in there, and I never did take those out. I should get those. But it was like, I looked at it and went, what the heck are you guys doing in here? It was sort of funny. This is my first bead stopper for this side. Though I suppose once I get going, it'd be easy enough to have them be on the same bead stopper. But because we can't just string up 2 strands and then put them together. We have to actually use the piece that we're working here. Though I don't need to pull it up as tight, but we will need to. So we'll do exactly the same thing on this side as we did on the other side. The only difference is we're going through the second set of holes and adding our second row. Down you go. Where are you at? Oh, way up here. So now we'll go through our second hole and then through our crystal. Bing. See, so now it's through this second one. We'll turn this over, go to our crystal, or we could flip it over entirely and work from the back side, which is also actually probably a little easier if we just flip everything. So let's just do that because it would be easier, like I say, because we just gotta go through this direction. So now through this first one here, come on you, let me get hold of the wire. And now the seed beads. So now I'm just going to hook both strands together here, and you can see what it looks like on the back here now, and then of course it will be like this on the front of your arm. Not pretty. Now we do have, like I said, we still have about half an inch to an inch for to fit my arm decently. So what we're just going to do is get out 4 crimps. We already have our 4 little and all this stuff, and we're going to start finishing her off here. And there really isn't much to finish it. Okay, we got our 4 crimps. So I left these separated here on this end because we're going to do these one at a time, obviously. So crimp tube on, bring her around and through, and I'm just going to go straight through this crystal bead. And because it's the original side, we don't have to worry so much about if we are how tight we are as far as the bracelet is concerned. That will come when we start the other side. So we can get this crimp tube about where we want it and crimp. Looks pretty good there. So we'll cut the excess off right here. And we'll pull, which one are you, baby? It's this one here. Oh, duh, Rose, you gotta take it out of the bead stopper so that it will pull because it's trying to keep with the other one. Let's get our bead back into our bead here. Go up there, wire. And now we'll just pull it down now. And it looks like I need to cut that extra little tiny bit I have there off. And pull her up again till she sits right there. So now we'll just put this bead stopper on this side here. Then we'll do this same thing over here on the other side and turn it and go to this side over here. Like I say, this side we don't have to pull tight as we crimp it because we will be doing that on the other side. So through the crimp tube and then through the crystal, bring her up. Now we want to pay a pretty close attention to how close these guys are in size. This is looking pretty good. As you can see, they're not too far off. Now we'll push the crystal up, get our flush cutters, and cut that second extra wire off. Take this and pull her this direction. Oops, we let the wire come out again. Come on, wire, you have to stay in your crystal. So that's one side done as far as the beads are concerned. And now we're going to flip it and do the other side. Now this time we do have to keep it tight because we don't want a lot of flopping around in there, but we don't want it to be atrociously tight either. So it's pretty good. So let's turn this over. And actually I'm going to turn it over and we'll grab one of these, get our crimp tube on, put her through, and pull this up. Now remember, you have to have a little bit of room right here or your crimping pliers will break your crystal because it's got to have room to crimp. So now this side is a little bigger as far as the loop is concerned, it looks like, than the loop I made on the other side. But it does look pretty good there. So now we'll cut this off. This side is done. Now that did stiffen it up some because I didn't have it rolled when I crimped it, but a lot of times when I'm crimping I find that that one's hole is obviously a little sideways to the other ones. That's all right, it gives us a little more room up here. So then we'll put our last crimp tube on. Anyway, what I was saying is that a lot of times, you know, you've got it a little bit, you want it to be a little loose because otherwise you, or it's really stiff when you try to roll it around to wear it. On the other hand, sometimes you leave yourself a big gap and then you need to put a crimp cover on, but with these you don't generally need a crimp cover, so I try to make sure that I have my wires all pulled up. Like, see, I just had to pull that one up, and I think we're probably good right here. Let's give it another tug though, make sure there's not a lot of excess down here somewhere. Looks good. So then I'm going to push this down a little bit more. Oops, see how it just came up some with me there? So we need to be careful of that. We want to make our loops about the same on this side as the other side, or on, you know, this one here. So I think we're pretty good right there. Well, let's see. Looks like we need to tighten it just a little bit. In here and crimp it. Oh, there's a little more gap there than I like, but like I said, I've had it straight, so it should roll around pretty good here and tighten it up quite a bit. So now we'll cut our excess wire right here off. And the next step is to put on our clasp. Not going to be pretty. So it will go on like so. So now, like I say, we need to put our clasp on. So we will get our pliers out and grab a Tinky Tot. Open. Through one of the holes and through one side of our clasp. Close this baby up. Now, as I say, I will frequently just hook straight to the clasp here on this side, on the sides, but because, like I say, not everybody likes this type of clasp, and they may want you, if you have a customer who doesn't care for this type, they may want you to change it, and that is why it's going on to jump rings, in case it does need changed. Now I hold these like this when I put the second one on, so that I'm making sure that they're going on the proper direction, so we don't have a twist in our wires as they come together here. So there's one side on. Now we need to put the other side on. So we need to open one of our Tinky Tots. And we need to either take it apart or grab our piece and then just roll it over here so that it's rolling the way it would sit if you were actually wearing it. Okay, there we go. Now, last one. Go up and on. Now we need to get this guy back in place. There it is. Okay. And now our pretty bracelet is finished. So let's drop her onto the sizer and see how much she ended up. And see, now she's not 7 inches like I'd like, because even though that dropped to 7 inches, well, since that did drop to 7 inches, it probably is close to 7 inches, because this is the first place where it's tight. So it's about 7 inches, it looks like. So this would come off like so. If you've never used a slider clasp, there's a little bump right there, and it just goes right up there, and there's a ridge right here, and your holes just go on either side, like so. So now I'd say this is 7 inches because it's right there for me, and I need to turn this little guy just a little bit so it will go into the other side. And there it is, nice and snug at 7 inches. And I think that turned out gorgeously, don't you? So there is our bracelet. So there we go. There is our bracelet. Isn't that lovely? I think it's gorgeous. So this bracelet was made with these pieces. The 4-hole pieces all were from my Thunderhorse Descendant Found Objects Challenge Kit. Now, as I say, you don't know what you get when you get these bags. They cost $8.30, and, well, plus postage, of course. But you don't know what's in the bag. It's a total surprise. They're all different because, well, they're all different. Because what she does is she buys buyouts, and if she finds what she gets into them, then she pulls a certain amount of everything out of her buyouts and then puts in at least one new item. And then that's what you end up getting. And then when you get it, you don't know what you're getting till you get it. And then when you do get it, you have to look everything over and then make something that is obviously from the kit and send the photos to Randy of the beginning and the end. And then you get entered for her drawing. There's a $50 prize if you win. It's a random drawing. And so if you win, you get $50 prize of beads. And I believe you get a beading book and the next month's kit is well, free without. So it's a really cool deal, and I have a lot of fun with it. I usually do every month. I don't think I've ever missed a month. Maybe one, but I'm not sure. And so yeah, it's definitely worth the $8.30. And sometimes you get some stuff you're going, what the heck am I going to do with that? And other times you get some really nice things. I really liked these bracelet pieces. And so I enjoyed making this. So this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. We'll see you next time. I hope you had a good time with me. Bye-bye.